Last time we had 7 books. This time we have 9 for part 2 of my Finding Cute and Wholesome, hopefully, manga. I honestly expected there was going to be a lot more time in between these vlogs because I thought it was going to take me a few more months to, buy the next batch of books. But thanks to a mixture of Vinted and Ren, I have ended up with way more books than I expected. All of these I got off Vinted within a 4-5 week period and came to about £30 in total. And then I have one from Ren and then one that I bought myself off Amazon. And this is going to be exactly the same as I did last time. I'm going to go through each of the books now, read through what they are about and read the blurbs. Then I'm going to do a very quick prediction on kind of what order I think they're going to come in and give them a bit of a ranking. Then they will be put into a random order, given a number assigned to them. And then each time I pick a book, I will just do a random number generator until I've read all of them. And then at the end do a wrap up and rank them and talk about super cute, wholesome books. So round 1 was pretty good. There were a few misses in there where I thought it was going to be a lot more wholesome and cute than it was. 1 or 2 that I was told they were wholesome, cute books and, they weren't. And I didn't really enjoy them, and there's 1 or 2 where the series I've decided I'm not going to continue, but for the most part I had a lot of fun. I did get a couple of 5 stars in there, and yeah, I just did enjoy it. So this time round we have got the following. Orange Volume 1 by Ichigo Takano. I know a lot of people have read this, I know a lot of people love this. I still can't get over that I got this for £1. Next up I have Natsume's Book of Friends by Yuki Midorikawa, and it has a cat, so it's a cat manga. It's gonna be good. Next up we have I Think Our Son Is Gay by Okura, which is a gift from the Reading Ren. I think this could be really cute, especially as it sounds like the mum is super supportive. Then we have one that was a Ren pick, which is Ren Rec, which was My Love Mix Up Volume 1. Got a little bit beaten up in the post, which is a bit annoying, but it's fine, still readable. Then we have one that is a Reading with Merb recommendation, and it's an older manga from like 2000 and something, I think. 2003, so I was 12 when this came out. And this is High School Debut by Kazune Kawahara. Then we have one that I'm not sure is actually going to come under cutesy wholesome, and I'm really not sure. This is like a wild card, but I got it from the same seller that I got a couple of these other books from, and I thought, it might fit, it might work, and that is My Lovey-Dovey Wife is a Stone Cold Killer by Danton Kosaka. Next is The Summer You Were There by Yuama. This one just sounds so cute. Next up we have Cat Gamer by Wataru Nadatani. I think it's clear which one is highest on my list of anticipation. This is going to give me a man and his cat vibes so hard, and I am here for it. And then another one that, again, I have been reassured by multiple people that it is sweet and wholesome despite it seeming very messed up and disturbed. And I'm going to have more opinions on this when I get to it, and I will talk a bit more in depth. But this one is Sweat and Soap by Kintetsu Yamada. Editing Kirsty here. I kind of didn't like the fact that this was only 9 books, so I wanted an extra book. So I ended up buying a surprise book, which was Restart After Coming Back Home. I picked this up when I was in London a couple of weeks ago. And basically this guy returns home after leaving for Tokyo and then losing his job. So he returns home where he has to start afresh, and then he meets with this guy. It's all about this guy coming home and then finding a romance while adjusting to his new life. And I think this one's gonna do things to me. So this is the 10th and final book for this vlog. But first of all, we're going to have to go with my gut reactions and what I think my ranking is going to be for where I think these are going to go and where they're going to end up. But I'm going to go in 9th place with My Lovey-Dovey Wife is a Stone Cold Killer. Like I said, this is the wild card, so I don't hold out a lot of hopes for this one. 8th place, I'm going with Natsume's book of friends, just because I'm not sure it's going to fit. I think I'm going to enjoy it, but I don't know if it's going to fit the cutesy, wholesome vibe. So it might just be a generic adventure manga. We shall see. 7, I'm going to go with high school debut purely because of their ages. 6th, I'm going to go with Orange, just because it is sort of like a sci-fi-esque type thing, and again, high schoolers, and again, not sure if it is going to be my thing, but we shall go with it. 5th place, I'm going to say Sweat and Soap. I think I'm going to be very disturbed, but if it is going to be as cute as people say it is, I will probably enjoy it, so we'll go with that. 4th, My Love Mix-Up. 3rd, The Summer You Were There. 2nd, I Think Our Son Is Gay. I've just got a feeling this one's going to give me a lot of cutesy squee moments. And then in 1st, I'm going to go with Cat Gamer. But when it comes to choosing them, I am going to just put them in height order, because that's how I store them on the shelf. So I put them in size order. I miss the days when you just go into a shop and all the manga are the same size and the same height across the board. So I am now gonna just do what I did last time. We're gonna go to my random number generator on my phone and we're gonna pick our first read. 2. Cool. Hilariously, the one that I actually had some thoughts about and wanted to talk about is the one that I drew. So number 2, Sweat and Soap. And yeah, initial thoughts of this, I'm worried it's gonna be a bit too disturbing and weird. I am someone who has a condition called hyperhidrosis. It means I do sweat a lot more than the average person does. I don't typically struggle with BO. I usually sweat too much to really get BO, but I do, I am very self-conscious about it. It's only recently that I've started wearing colours like this again, because I finally found a deodorant that actually does stop me from sweating so badly. So obviously that is a very sensitive topic for me, so I'm very intrigued to see if they're going to handle it with respect or if it's going to be some sort of gross, freaky sex thing in this. So that's the main reason I was a little bit dubious about it, but I have been assured that it is really cute and it is wholesome and it's not disgusting and gross and it's not like a bad thing. So we shall see if it is handled with the respect that I hope it is, because it is a genuine thing that a lot of people struggle with. And I know certainly in a lot of Asian communities, there's a gene where they either don't sweat or they sweat very little compared to the rest of the world. So I'm wondering if maybe like her super sweating and super BO is sort of everybody else's normal. So we shall see how that's all handled. I'm slightly nervous going into this one. I rated it quite low on my prediction, so I guess I won't know until I start reading, so I better get started. Wish me luck. Hello, it's a few hours later. Excuse the bag in the background, even though it's really annoying me. But I have read volume 1 of Sweat and Soap, and I've just realised that angle is really weird. I forgot completely, even though on my live I was talking about this book as I was reading it, I forgot to actually record. So what I'm going to do now is insert some clips from the live that I was doing where I talk about this, so you can see some of my thoughts when I began. See, right? That's what kind of makes me go, this is ick. It just looks ick.
Why isn't it just 2 people? The way he's looking at her.
And look at her and and then I got started on Sweat and Soap and I didn't want to like it, but I think I really liked it. Her perspective hit me in the feels, and I liked that it wasn't kind of as I thought it was going to be. I was worried that they were going to make it this really horrible, disgusting thing, like dirty thing, but they haven't. Yeah. And like even with his like sniffing and perversion, when she said no, back off, he's backed off. And at one point he actually stops mid-conversation. He's like, I'm really sorry, I've actually forgotten to ask, are you okay with this? And he does check himself. So I'm like, I don't want this to be cute, but actually there's a couple of cringy moments in there, but I'm like, this is actually going better than I thought. So I'm cautiously optimistic.
I finished volume 1 of Sweat and Soap. I see why people told me that if I could get over the creep-ass cover and the weird concept, that it was super duper cute, because it really was. It was just very sweet, it was quite wholesome, and yeah.
And as you can see, I started off a little bit dubious. I quite enjoyed it from the offbeat, and it was supposed to be a one-shot. So you can kind of tell that the author is a bit nervous and not sure how to expand this into a relationship, but I'm really enjoying it. And I see what people mean about not being put, that you shouldn't be put off by the concept of the whole sweat thing. There were a couple of times where, as someone who sweats quite a bit, I did feel uncomfortable by his whole obsession with smelling her. And it's like, yes, okay, be obsessed with someone's smell and loving how someone smells, even if they're someone who naturally has more sweat glands, etc. But he was just like, they were on a date and he spent that entire date desperately wanting to sniff her and scent her and like just sort of, inhale her smell. And it's like, dude, you're on a date. Can you just not think about that for a few hours? And as a result, she ended up feeling really upset because she thought he just didn't want to be there, and because they weren't at work, she thought maybe he didn't really want to be with her. And he was just like, no, I've just been all day, I've been wanting to sort of sniff you and I've been wanting to hold you and embrace you, but because we were in public, I didn't want to appear like a weirdo. And it was like, that was kind of not very fun to read, and that was a bit creepy and gross. And there were a couple of moments like that throughout, but overall it was really good, and I wasn't expecting that. And now I'm kind of in a bit of a dilemma, because this one, I think I predicted this to be down at like 7 or 8, and now I'm like, this is going to be in the top 3 or 4. So yeah, this ended up being really wholesome and got 4 stars, and I'm now like, oh god, what do I do next? So we're already starting off with a winner, like not a winner, I know it's not going to be a winner chicken dinner. I can't believe I just said that, but it is going to be quite high now, when I was thinking it was going to be quite low. Yep, so let's go. Cool, book number 2, and we are reading book number 7. Okay, so we are switching it up from a heterosexual couple who are in their late 20s, and it's a much more mature story, to a high school Yuri romance. Some of You Were There, volume 1 by Yuama. And so it's Shizuku and Kaori, and Shizuku is writing a story, and basically Kaori says, well, why don't we date? And, it'll give you inspiration and material for your next book. So this one could be very, very cute. And as a writer, this one could speak quite a lot of volumes to me. So yeah. So I am about 10 pages, maybe 15 pages in. And so far, immediately we've got the whole Shizuku is really quiet. They've alluded straight away that something happened in her past and somebody got hurt. I don't know in what capacity. But as a result, it's driven her to become very self-isolated, very much a loner. She doesn't want to interact with people, and she's scared to get close to people in case she hurts them again. And then on the flip side of that, we've got Kaori, who's like super popular, super upbeat, really friendly, and does reach out and tries to become friends with her. And then Shizuku has written this like super dark, sad story, and like as a writer, it's kind of painful what she does, because she spends a year writing this thing and then immediately she finishes typing it and then just deletes it. And I was like, who does that? Maybe it was like a cathartic book for her, I don't know. After she deletes it, she then is like, I need to get rid of the draft that I wrote. She wrote everything by hand and then typed it up. So she decides that if she does it at home, someone might find it, so that she doesn't want to see. So she decides to get rid of it at school on cleaning day and sneak it in with all the school rubbish. Only Kaori catches her. The manuscript drops and Kaori's just like, hey, I'm going to read this, and just kind of takes off, and Shizuku's like, ah. And that's where I've got to so far. And I'm like, I'm definitely intrigued. I want to know sort of what's happened to make Shizuku so melancholy at such a young age. And I also kind of want to see what's going to happen and how Kaori's going to help bring her out of her shell. So I am definitely intrigued, and I think it's going to be quite cute. And like I said, to my knowledge, I think this is the first Yuri manga that I've read, so it could be good. So I'm intrigued how that's going to go. But yeah, definitely has an interesting start, even if, like I said, with my writer heart is like, why would you delete your story that you spent a year working on? Okay. I finished The Summer You Were There literally just now, and I really want to continue it, but not for great reasons. I kind of got an ominous vibe from about 30 pages in, or maybe even like less than that, when Shizuku, who's like narrating the book, is like, so this begins the story of our first and last summer together. And I thought, okay, jokingly, I was like, who's gonna die? And then as the book's gone on, we're getting tiny hints about Kaori. That she's like, you know, she at one point she goes to stand up and goes very dizzy. She's going to the restroom a lot, and I'm just getting this really horrible feeling that the reason that Kaori wants to date is because she knows maybe, and I don't know the series, I don't know how it ends, but my gut feeling is I think Kaori's sick, and I think it's going to be a bit of a tragic ending. So I want to continue it because it's going to be beautiful, but it's not going to be wholesome if that happens. But just going off the fact that it's a first volume, I would say it's semi-wholesome. I'm not so fond of how Kaori's just pushing and pushing. Like, Shizuku's like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in a relationship. And she's just like, yeah, you do, yeah, you do, yeah, you do. And things like, she asks her out on a date, and Shizuku's like, I don't really want to go. I don't have the right clothing. I can't afford it. And Kaori's just like, well, I'll pay and it'll be nice and cool inside. And then turns up the next day and has just bought an entire outfit for her. And it's just a bit, I'm not really a fan of how pushy it is, but it seems to be quite pretty, and I think I'm going to enjoy the series. In terms of cute and wholesome, based off the first volume alone, it's hard to say whether it's going to be. And like I said, the first volume was kind of average, kind of okay, not super cute, not super wholesome, but had a couple of cute moments in there. So I'm probably going to give it a 3-star. And at the moment, it's obviously we've only done 2 books, but at the moment it is last place. But we shall see how it goes on. But that means then that with this one done, it is time to roll for our next one. So let's go see what we're going to get. Okay, 1, 2, 7, let's go. Book 5. I got book number 5, Kagema! This is the one that I am most looking forward to for this vlog. Super excited for. And it's basically a lonesome woman who doesn't really socialise much and is very much a gamer who adopts a cat, only she learns how to take care of the cat through the games that she plays. I don't know, this one is giving me huge like wholesome vibes, and I'm so excited. And I just love the art style on the front. The cat is so cute. I like the colouring and how they've done that. And just when I first look at the pictures, I'm like, I really am going to love this art style. So yeah, I'm excited for this. And I think this one I'm going to blitz through very, very quickly. So I might even forget to update, but we shall see. Let's go. I started Cat Gamer this morning. I've just got to the end of like the first little bit. And it's so cute. Like, she's never cared for an animal before, so she's completely new to the whole having a pet thing. And it's basically, the cat is a stray that was found on the lot of her workplace. And she has this reputation for being the person who always says no. Like, she never socializes, she never goes for dinners with everyone. Anything that's outside of work, she says no. If it's past 5 o'clock, I'm not interested. So they're like, oh yeah, we've got this cat that's appeared on the parking lot. Does anyone want to adopt it? And she ends up going, yeah, sure, I'll take it. And then it's kind of like she gets home, she's like, what the hell do I do? So she's like figuring it out, but it's just so cute because it's things like the little kitty is like yawning and licking itself, and it just, the drawing style's really sweet. And she's kind of learning here, sort of the first night home, where the cat has 1 second is running around like a maniac, and literally 3 seconds later is sound asleep, but she thinks it's passed out because she's like, oh god, it just fell over. And it's really funny because it's like, I think we've all been there where we've seen our cats go from zooming around like crazy to dead asleep within seconds, and it is kind of like a, how did you do that? So I think I'm gonna absolutely love this. I don't really know how many volumes it is though, so I'm hoping that there's going to be like a secondary type plot in there just to balance out the whole, like with my roommate is a cat. It's kind of, he goes from being this complete loner who doesn't really deal with people because he's scared of getting hurt, to developing this beautiful community of friends because the cat helps him build that community. And it's a really beautiful story of, yes, adapting to owning a cat and the cat learning to trust humans, but also it had these side stories. So I'm hoping that similar things going to come in. But the gaming aspect as well is really cool because as a gamer, she's using gaming terms and I'm just like, yeah. And she's like, hey, this cat is at level 1. I need to max out the levels and I need to do this. And it's like, it has little boxes explaining what it means to max out and stuff. And I'm like, well, as a gamer, I already know what it means to max out when it comes to characters. So I'm just like, I'm excited for this. It's going to be so cute. So I'm going to continue with this and I reckon I'll get this done by the end of today. But this is already meeting the expectations I had. So very cute, very wholesome. I finished Cat Gamer and it was 5 stars as I predicted, and it's straight to the top of this list. It was so cute. Like, as a gamer, I loved all of the gaming terms. Everything was so cute. The kitten in this was cute. At the end of each chapter, we got like a little tiny snippet into this perspective of the kitten himself. And it was just like really sweet because it was like, there's a theory that cats perceive humans as just like giant cats. And so this cat was like looking at her like, she reminds me of my mum. She's so beautiful. And I was just like, oh my god, my heart. Like, I just could not. And oh, it's so cute. And the way she just applies video game logic to everything. And then she decides to set a bit of an Instagram type social media account. And then it gets discovered at work. And now she's like, oh shit, because she doesn't want people to know it's her. But yeah, this was just super cute, super wholesome. I gave it 5 stars because of how super it gave me all of the warm, fuzzy, cutesy, wholesome feels that I was after, and especially as both a gamer and a cat owner, I was just agreeing with so much that was going on, and I could see myself applying to some of the logic she applied to my own cat, and I was like, yes. I just got it. And like, I spoke to Ren, who's also read this, and Ren didn't quite rate it as high as me, but that's because they were a bit sort of unsure about where the storyline was going and didn't really like the fact there wasn't really a storyline there. Whereas for me, I was just enjoying the whole her going, oh, I now have a cat. What do? And hey, well, the only logic I know is video games, so let's see what will happen if I apply that to the cat. And I would like to see if in future volumes, I would like to see more development in terms of a plot, but for the first one, I was just here for the feels, and that is what I got. It was super cute. Who doesn't love a cat in a tissue box? That being said, it is now time to pick the next book in this series, and I feel sorry for whatever comes after this, but it's time to go pick. So let's see what we end up with. Okay, minimum 1, maximum 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Generate 2. Speaking of Ren, I got one that was a Ren pick, which is My Love Mix-Up. This copy got a little bit battered on its way to me, but I only paid £1 for this, so I was like quite happy. And just as a reminder, Aoki has a crush on Hashimoto, the girl on the seat next to him in class, but he despairs when he borrows her eraser and sees she's written the name of another boy, Ida, on it. To make matters more confusing, Ida sees him holding that very eraser and thinks Aoki has a crush on him. So yeah, I originally thought this was like going to be a multiple love triangle, square, hexagonal, whatever thing going on. And that I thought it was all going to be like heterosexual, but I have been told this is actually queer, so now I'm like absolutely more interested. And yeah, I just think it's going to be really hilarious where it's like, oh, so you have a crush on me? And he's like, no. This one could be really super cute, or it's going to really annoy the heck out of me. We shall see. So we're going to have to deal with the camera angle change because my stand broke and I'm not happy about it. But I am now without a camera stand for a little while and had to make an improv. But I read My Love Mix-Up last night. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. Like, the story is kind of cute. I will give it that. And I like how it's so funny right at the end. There was a bit that had me cackling. And I did have some good moments with this. But I'm not a fan of the art in this. It just goes a bit too silly and there doesn't seem to be a consistent art style in this. And some things just felt, yeah, like this kind of face just isn't really for me. And considering like the rest of the style, I don't mind when it's sort of, you know, like this kind of face or this. I'm okay with that. But when it goes a bit too silly, it just took me out of it a little bit. That being said, I know Ren's been reading and really enjoying this series, and I am intrigued enough to continue, especially with the very last couple of pages. I was like, okay, this now has got me my attention. I'm now hooked. So I will be continuing it. I just hope that the art style kind of becomes a bit more consistent by the end. That'd be nice. So yeah, did enjoy it. I haven't rated it yet. So far on our like current with this one, I think I'm going to rank it third currently. It's definitely caught my interest more than The Summer You Were There, but it's just not been as wholesome as Cat Gamer and Sweat and Soap so far. So I'm just going to rank it this way so far. But yeah, it does mean that with that one, there's not really a lot I can say about it. It was okay. It was a romance. I definitely like the fact where it's like neither of the boys are outright like, oh, it's disgusting that a man likes me or that I might like a man. They kind of are just both like, well, maybe I could. And so I did enjoy that aspect. But yeah, that's about all I've got to say on that one. So I'm going to swiftly move on, pick my next book. You know what? Maximum 2, 3, 4, 5. 3. Okay, the next book on this round is Natsume's Book of Friends and is all like, it has a cat on the cover, so I'm like, it's gonna be cute, right? It's like he can see the spirits and demons that hide from the rest of humanity and has basically like inherited something from his grandmother. And basically he inherits a book of demons that have escaped and now he has to round them all back up. It could be chaotic, it could be cute, it could be wholesome, or it could be really rubbish. I don't know. We shall see. I thought I'd recorded this already, but I hadn't. But I did finish Natsume's Book of Friends. However, for the purpose of this vlog, I am not going to count it because it had 1 or 2 wholesome moments in there. Don't get me wrong. But the book on a whole was not wholesome, and it is like I thought. It's more like a supernatural paranormal, like a supernatural adventure action thing. So I am going to be discluding this, but I did really enjoy it, and I will talk a little bit more about it in my wrap up for November because I finished it in October, but I didn't want to talk about it because I obviously was using it for this vlog. But it is cute, it is fun, and I really, really, really am enjoying it. I have given it 4 stars and I will be continuing it. But like I said, for the purpose of this vlog, it just doesn't count. And so it will be a last place, but not because I didn't enjoy it, but because it isn't the sort of cutesy wholesome that I'm looking for and wasn't quite the theme of the vlog. Let's go on to pick our next book, shall we? We're back up to 5 because I bought the extra one when I was in London, so we have 4. Okay, Orange is the next one, and this one is Naho begins 11th grade, so she's 16, and she receives a letter from her future self basically telling her that a new transfer student will soon join her class and is basically saying please watch over him and save him from his destiny. I've been told that this one is very heartwarming. I've also been told that it's quite emotional and it has themes of mental health and like suicidal thoughts. So this one I feel like is going to be very deep and very personal and very hard-hitting, but I'm also hoping it's going to get the warm fuzzies that I've been told it has. That's all I'm really going to say. I'm just going to get started and jump straight in. I started Orange last night and I'm not very far in. I'm only this far in. This one is gonna hit the feels, I can tell. Just based on, as you open the book, there's some colour images right here. And just based on this alone, I was like, oh no. It looks to me like 2 of them on the cover have married and had a kid, and then the other 3 are just like grown up. And then obviously one of them, we know from the blurb something bad happened. But I don't know at this point if there's going to be a love triangle, because it starts with her future self saying to save the guy that's not in it anymore and saying like this is when you started to like him. So I'm wondering if what originally happened was that, you know, she had a thing for him and then he died, so she ended up with the other friend. And I'm now curious as to what's going to happen, and is that going to change the timeline and what's going on. And yeah, it's just okay. Like, she starts off very much, she doesn't draw attention to herself. So when they're dividing up the different flavoured bread, she deliberately doesn't go, she wants the one that's curry flavoured, but she's like, well, what if someone else wants it? So she just waits for everyone else to pick and then she gets what's left. But the new guy, I'm not yet learning names yet, Kakeru, he just gives her, he's like, hey, I'll trade you the curry bread for the melon bread. And she's like, oh, did he notice? Did he realise that that's what I wanted? Or is it just coincidence? And then at school on like a sports day, her letter says to herself, do this thing, you'll regret it forever if you don't. And she was like, okay. But she does do the thing, but in the process of doing it, she blisters her feet because it turns out her shoes are too small. But again, she doesn't want to inconvenience people and she doesn't want to wear them, so she's just been dealing with like shoes that are too small and injuring herself. Like, she is annoying me a tiny bit because there is a difference between not wanting to inconvenience people and being an absolute doormat and suffering for no reason. But she just seems to be very much she will not put herself first and she can't. But then Kakeru is like, I see you. I've noticed that you tend to just overlook yourself, but I see you. And I was like, okay, this one is gonna get me. And just like the way that the drawings are, I'm just, okay, this one could get me in the feels. And it already has a little bit. I was kind of tearing up a little bit last night. Then again, I was also very tired, and I am way more emotional when I'm sleepy. But I'm eager to continue, so I'm going to do that now, in between bouts of tidying and editing. But I want to do a little bit more. I've realised it's the complete collection, which means it's the first 3 sort of manga volumes in one. and I've just finished the end of the first one, and I've decided, because I think all but one of the books in this vlog are just volume 1 in the series, I've decided I'm just going to stick with that and make my reflections based on that. I've already teared up like 3 times. As someone who has struggled with mental health and depression and the grief of losing a parent and dealing with that grief when you're still very young, I was still only 21, and at the time I wasn't in contact with my dad, so it was kind of like I'd lost my dad and my mum at the same time. And at 21 I felt too young to have lost my main parent. And yeah, it was difficult to read. It was bringing back some memories, but I'm starting to get a suspicion that Naho might not be the only one that obviously I don't know. I haven't finished the book and I haven't finished the series, but I've just got this sneaking suspicion, because there was like one bit where it was like her future self is saying to her to try and convince Kakeru to join the soccer club, and at the same time Kakeru mentions that one of the other guys, this guy, is like really pushing him into it. And then there's another bit where her letter tells her to be confident and actually respond and say how she's feeling to Kakeru, and in the moment she runs away and she's too scared, and when she turns around the corner he's there and he's like, don't run away, like go back. And I'm like, has he also had a letter and it's basically saying to tell her to do that? And that the reason he's been so pushy with the trying to get him to join the soccer club is because his future self has told him. So now I'm starting to wonder if all of them have had letters from their future selves to try and stop this fate. So yeah, there's a lot in here. Naho is one of those characters where I'm kind of annoyed, but I also have to remember what I felt like as a teenager, and it's like, it's all fair and good me now as a fully grown adult in my 30s going, for God's sake, stop being such a wuss and just speak up. But it's like, well, considering I'm still really bad at advocating for myself and I'm in my 30s, I feel like I would have done no better than her. Like in the letter where it's like, I wish I'd been braver, I wish I'd said something, and when she runs away she's tearing up and she's like, it's all fair and good you 10 years in the future telling me to do that, but when you're in the moment it's so hard and I just can't. So she's annoying me a little bit. Kakeru's kind of annoying me as well, because you can tell he wants to open up and won't. But I don't know, I just get the feeling that all of them have had a letter. I don't know, we shall see. But yeah, I'm absolutely, like, even though volume 1 is just for this vlog, the rest of it I will be reading as, well, basically as soon as I finished recording this I'm going to continue it. This one feels realistic but without being too immature, if that makes sense. A lot of teenage things tend to have the same themes, the same ideas, and I feel like a lot of the characters tend to act younger than they actually are. And it's like, you know, 16-year-olds, they either get portrayed as being really immature and silly or super mature and unrealistic. Whereas this feels raw, realistic. It has that perfect blend of moments where you're like, for God's sake, and then you stop and go, wait, they are actually teenagers. And it has been really well done, and I'm enjoying it, because I feel like it's actually taken a more mature approach to teenagers without making them too adult or too, you know, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm hoping you understand what I'm trying to say. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, this one's a very, very strong contender for this series. But now it's time to roll for the next one. Not gonna lie to you all, I cheated and I've chosen the next in this one. I forgot to roll, so I just chose. And that was restart after coming back home. So basically, 25-year-old, moved to the city, it didn't work out, he's now moved back, and he meets this guy who moved into the town after he left, and a romance brews. I have very high hopes for this one. High hopes. Restart after coming back home. I picked this one kind of randomly, and then I read the whole thing in like an hour, so I didn't really stop to give any updates. I do have a few issues. First and foremost, we kind of jump into these guys having known each other for a little while, and then we get a few flashbacks to them meeting. I feel like we missed out on so much of the relationship building, and it was really lovely and sweet and great. But things just felt a little vague, and it felt like we kind of missed so much of their introductions and meeting and getting to know them. I really wanted a little bit more of that, a little bit more of them sort of learning about each other and getting to know each other, because we kind of come into this and it's already been a few months and there were quite a few time skips. It was hard to kind of work out where we were on a timeline with this. So if you're doing any prompts next year or this year, by the time this uploads, if you're doing any prompts that involve things that are out of chronological order, this one definitely fits because it does kind of bounce around and we get flashbacks and the timeline just is a bit not fantastic, and it did get a bit confusing at a couple of points for me. I was like, wait, hang on, oh, we're now 6 months ahead of where we were last chapter, what? And yeah, it didn't really give us like a little thing to say X time later. It just kind of did it, and I don't like it when books and films and things do that and it's not clear that there's time jumps. Ignoring all of that, these two was so cute. They balanced each other out so beautifully. And even though we have, I've forgotten his name already, Mitsuomi is really hot-headed and kind of thinks about himself more and is a little bit of a jerk at times. One thing I noticed is that immediately whenever Yamato was upset, and Yamato's normally like the smiley, cheery, happy one that is always thinking about the positives. And it's normally Mitsuomi who is the doom and gloom down one. But the one thing that happens is the few times that we see that Yamato is down, immediately Mitsuomi snaps into that role of the uplifter and the supporter. And yeah, I loved it. And like there was a character that gets brought in where he's like, do you want to know all of the deep dark secrets of Yamato? And Mitsuomi's like, no, he will tell me when he is ready. And you can go suck one. And it was fantastic. There was no unnecessary drama or fallout between the characters, and that was so refreshing for me. There wasn't any of this, oh, but we can't be together, and there was none of this like finding an excuse to break up or anything like that. It was mature, healthy adults having a mature, healthy relationship and communicating with each other through the bad shit. So I gave this one 4.5 stars because, like I said, the jumping around of the timeline was frustrating, and also the whole missing out on their kind of introduction and there was so much more relationship building. This could have been twice as thick and really built that relationship between us. This kind of almost feels like a summary of their relationship rather than us along on the journey with them. Which isn't a problem. It was just I would have loved to have had a bit more meat to it. So 4.5 stars, definitely wholesome, definitely sweet, and I found out that there is a sequel, so I'll be grabbing that at my earliest convenience. Now, I think apart from that, I think we're now down to our last two, maybe three. Let me check. I have 3 books to go. We have High School Debut, My Lovey Dovey Wife is a Stone Cold Killer, and I Think Our Son is Gay Volume 1. I've kind of given up all rhyme and reason. I'm just reading them in any order. So High School Debut is on my TBR for January, which gives away how long I've been doing this part of the vlog. I think I've been doing this Wholesome Manga vlog, part 2, for about 3 months now. But High School Debut is on January's TBR. I'm just going to get it done. I'm not feeling great, and I need to distract myself, so... she goes into high school, wants to completely change her appearance and like fall in love, and so an upperclassman offers to help her, but she's not allowed to fall in love with him. I wonder what's going to happen there. But yeah, let's go! Done, done, done. Another one for the vlog. Yeah, random, whatever. High School Debut, I surprisingly loved this. I was kind of, because I knew it was early 2000s, I was kind of expecting a trend that I have noticed certainly more since I started watching K-drama, and now that I'm an adult and I look back at some of the older manga and anime, where there used to be a really big
thing with the male interest like bullying and being really quite horrible to the female. So I was expecting that going into this, and he has a kind of, I wouldn't say he's a bully or mean, he's just very blunt. Like, he does not hold back, but he doesn't really do it in like, he doesn't say you're ugly. He just goes, no. Like, when she's wearing dresses, he's like, you're overdoing it, or you're trying too hard, or that perfume doesn't look good on you, isn't good on you, or that colour doesn't suit you. But he's not saying because you're ugly, because you're fat, because you're this. And it was really kind of refreshing that an older manga had that kind of attitude where he was just being honest. And yeah, there were a couple times that her feelings did get hurt, but she's quite a resilient character, you can tell. And obviously, you can tell they're eventually going to get feelings for each other. It's obvious, and I think it's already starting to show that he falls first, because like one of his friends shows an interest in her, and he's just like, really? Her? And he's like, are you sure? But it doesn't come across like a because I would never go there, but it sounds more like a because I don't want you to go there because that's where I want to go. Yo's younger sister was really, really lovely, and the way that she was just like, my brother's a douchebag, so I'll be friends with you instead and I'll try and help you, was really cute. And at first I was like, is there going to be like an ulterior motive? Is the sister going to be very jealous and possessive? And is there going to be that weird kind of thing where a younger sister is so obsessed with her older brother it's almost incestuous? Because that seems to be a recurring theme no matter how old the mangas are. Because that still gets written today. Looking at you, McCoy. But it wasn't, and it was really sweet, and it was just all of the friendships in this felt really good. All of the characters had good vibes. I'm really enjoying it. I didn't expect to. This was a Meredith recommendation, so thank you, Meredith. Now I've just got to go through the almost impossible task of trying to get hold of all of the manga volumes, because it's, from my understanding, it is now out of print. So I'm going to have a fun time trying to find those. So thank you, Meredith. But that's another one done for this vlog, which means I think I've only got 2 more to go. Oh, I haven't put this through core pile yet, but I think it's going to be a 4. I think. I need to have a reflection. But I'm just going to grab the closest one to me, which is right here. So the next one I'm going to read is I Think Our Son Is Gay by Okura. And this one is as written on the tin. The mum thinks that her son might be gay but might not be quite ready to come out or hasn't realised it for himself, and it's just following their lives as she supports him through that. Ren, I know, has read at least the first volume. I don't know if they've read the whole series, and said it is very, very wholesome and very, very sweet, so I'm hoping to really enjoy this one. So yeah, filming this one quite quickly because I've really hurt my ankle today. Sorry Ren, I haven't told you. I'm in a lot of pain. I need to go rest it. But I Think Our Son Is Gay. First 5-star read of 2024. First 5-star manga. All the wholesome, the cute. He definitely knows he's gay, but isn't ready yet to come out to his family, but he occasionally slips up. And his mum is just there to support and love him the whole way through. His dad says a couple of things about gay and like, oh, you know, you don't want to be gay and stuff like that. And the mum's like, well, it wouldn't really be the end of the world if he was. And you can tell she's just kind of trying to very gently prepare the dad for the eventual coming out that you know is going to happen at some point in this guy's life. And yeah, I can't say much about it because there's not like loads to say, but the little brother is just so cool. Every single character in this was so sweet and lovely, and I'm really excited to see where it's going to go. So absolute 5 stars. I read it in 30 minutes flat and I had to make myself slow down at points. I think it's going to be struggle to pick my favourite of this block because it's been pretty stellar and this one's just been so good. So yeah, 5 stars. So now I'm pretty sure that just leaves me with a really, really messed up ankle that hurts. But I think the only one I have left now is my lovey dovey wife is a cold-hearted killer, assassin, something like that. And again, is one that I think may not count as wholesome, but we shall see. So I think that's the last one for this one. I need to go through and check, but I think it is. So it'd be nice to get to the end of this part of the vlog and get finished with this one. We're getting there.
So this one's a DNF, and a very quickly skipping through to see if it improved, see that it doesn't, and go, I'm not doing this. Both the characters are adults, yet are drawn like they look like they're 12. They're married, yet they've never had a lunch date. They've only kissed once, which was at their wedding. They're awkward and stiff around each other like they've only known each other for a week. And he's just a wimpy ass little nothing. And I have so many questions, like, how did they meet? Why is he just completely okay? And I don't mind the fact that it starts with them already married, but I would have liked a little bit of sort of how they got to that point, because how did these two people, and it's like, oh, we fell in love, and it's like, you fell in love but you never kissed and you'd never spent much time with each other. And I didn't like it. And the fact that, like I said, they are drawn like they are 12, nah, I didn't like the drawing, I didn't like the story, so I'm DNFing this, which means we have finished this vlog. Woohoo! Woo, woo, woo. And it means I now need to rank the books. So as a reminder, here are the 10 in the order that I originally predicted, and I'm now going to go through and say what I think. First of all, I'm going to get Natsume out of the way. Obviously that one was disqualified, so that doesn't even come into the rankings, nor does my lovey dovey wife, because I DNF'd it and I'm not going to rate it. So again, those two are disqualified. So that means we have 8. And in 8th place, I originally predicted was going to be High School Debut. In actuality, it was My Love Mix-Up, which I originally predicted was going to be 5th. It just didn't last with me. I didn't like the art style very much, and I don't know if I really want to continue it. In 7th place is one that has really, really surprised me, because I thought this was going to be in the top 4, and that is Restart After Coming Back Home. I just didn't like how the plot jumped around all over the place, and even though it ended pretty solidly, it was just a really choppy beginning, and I wanted way more of the development of their romance and how they met and all of that. In 6th place is another one that I ranked very high. I rated it. I predicted it was going to be in 3rd, and it came in 6th, and that is The Summer You Were There. Again, it had no major faults. It just didn't have a huge impact while I was reading it, other than the, oh no, something bad's going to happen. And even though I am going to continue this one, just for the first volume, it didn't have a massive impact, and it hasn't really stuck with me. But it was okay for what it was, so 6th place. Then in 5th place is one that I originally ranked a lot lower, and that was High School Debut. I thought this was actually quite fun. I really liked how they've introduced the characters. I really like the dynamic that's already building between the two main leads, and despite it being an older manga, it didn't come across supremely problematic in any areas, which was really nice. And yeah, I thought it was quite cute, and I definitely am invested enough to keep it going. In 4th place is another one that really, really shocked me, because I thought I was going to hate it, and I loved it, and that was Sweat and Soap. It was so cute and wholesome. The only reason it's not a little bit higher is because I'm kind of wondering where it's going to go with the storyline, and is it really enough to do a full 8-volume series? We shall see. But it definitely was cute, it was wholesome, it made me go, oh, and it has me wanting more. And then in our top 3, the biggest shock of all of these is the one that I thought was going to be number 1 is 3. Cat Gamer Volume 1. It was, don't get me wrong, 1,000 out of 10 for the actual wholesome and the cute and the kawaii and the, I love it so much, and I am having a great time with it, and I did find it really cute and fun. However, as the thing that put Ren off, and I now kind of agree, especially now that I'm now on volume 3, and I'm really starting to agree with Ren, the lack of plot is making it a bit boring now, and nothing's really driving it forward. And even in the first volume, there isn't really a plot, and so it's 10 out of 10 for the vibes and the feel, but for plot and characters, it's just a bit stale. And now that I'm thinking about it after it's been a little while, wasn't my favourite of all of these. So number 3. In the 2nd slot is the one that I predicted was going to be super duper low, and that is Orange. This was beautiful. it tackled a really sensitive topic in a really good way. The art was gorgeous, the story was beautiful, the characters had a lot of diversity to them in the terms of their interests and what they do. It hit me in multiple feels, and it has stuck with me since I stopped reading it, and even after now I've read the rest of that volume, and it's going to haunt me. So I see why so many people love it, and it has wholesome vibes, but also super duper emotional vibes. And then number one, I predicted this was going to be 2, so I'm not surprised that it got bumped up, but I Think Our Son Is Gay, volume 1. It was amazing. The family were beautiful, the characters were great, just the relationship, the mum and her sons, and the way that each of, like, his brother and his mum both support him without openly being like, hey, we know you're gay, and just allowing him to come out when it's safe for him, and just supporting him, and just everything. So cute. So yeah, those are the 10 that I have for this one, and then I will put a little thing here to show which ones I'm going to continue. And I already have enough books to start to do a third part to this. I'm predicting this is going to be about a 5 or 6 part series before I then do like an ultimate here are the most wholesome manga that I've read video. But I hope you stick with me for the whole series because I'm having so much fun reading these manga. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you've read any of these and what you thought of them, and whether, or if you haven't, are you thinking of picking any of these up now after watching? In the meantime, I hope you're good, I hope you're staying safe, and until next time.